today. Really pleased as well that we are joined by Drew Thomas from Microsoft. Drew, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Oh, well, a very warm welcome to everybody on this very cold morning. I hope you've got your heating on. Yeah, I'm an account technology strategist at Microsoft. It's my job to help join the dots when it comes to digital transformation. But I'm here really to help moderate the chat, to make sure that any questions you've got around for an official line from Microsoft, whilst I'm not an expert, and that's why I rely on the talent at iCoTech. I do have Copilot and access to all of Microsoft's deepest, darkest secrets on SharePoint. So I'll do my very best to answer any questions this morning.
Thanks, Drew. And finally, I'll hand over at this point as well, over to Joel.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Drew. Very nice to see you all this morning. Thank you for jumping on. So yeah, my name is Joel Markham. I'm the CEO and founder of iCoTech Services. My background is in project portfolio management. Really, that's all I've kind of did in my corporate world, working for the likes of Babcock, Companies House, and Lloyds Bank. And it's quite emotional, really, talking about Project Online being end of life, because those were some of the tools that I used many years ago to kind of craft my skill and to support the project delivery functions that we were building across those organizations. So yeah, every good thing, I guess, has to end in life, right? So and we move onwards and upwards, and looking forward to showing you kind of the options available to you today, and what's next in the next generation of PPM for Microsoft. So before we jump into the detail, just to confirm and set the scene really of who iCoTech are and what we do. We're power platform specialists based in Cardiff, but with capability all across the UK and customers all across the world. We use a unique approach, which is a consultant-led approach. So we have consultants here that are practitioners in technology and in business change as well, in project delivery, to work with our customers. So we kind of rather call ourselves a partner rather than a supplier. And what we do is build systems, applications to enable you to run your organizations in the public sector, predominantly here in the UK. But we have a particular focus really in project portfolio management, enterprise risk management solutions, and strategic planning solutions as well. So we really focus on that area, and we consider ourselves experts in this space. And the capability now that Drew referenced that we've got here at iCoTech Services kind of far surpasses my capability these days, and the practice here in iCoTech and Richard and the team are brilliant at what they do, solving these complex business problems for organizations here across the UK. If you've been on our website or you've used to working with us, you'll probably know about iCoPlan, and we've referenced it already today. But that is our project management and portfolio management solution accelerator, and that is something that I'll show you later on in the call, just a kind of whistle-stop tour of that product and how it could support you in the Project Online end of life. But we also have iCoRisk, which is our corporate risk management system. So many local authorities, public sector bodies across the UK are using Excel and Word to manage corporate risk. And actually, we found many years ago that building a platform, a solution to digitize the corporate risk register was of benefit to our organizations that we work with. And then also the newest kid on the block is iCoView, which is about your service plans, your council plans, and then breaking that down into the service areas, defining the measures, the objectives, the status reporting that has to go to, cabinet or ministerial departments for reporting purposes, etc. And there's a kind of theme that links between all those three accelerators. So in our opinion, project portfolio management is often there to mitigate corporate risks. Likewise, projects and portfolios can introduce corporate risks. So there's a link between iCoPlan and iCoRisk there. And likewise, your business plan, your county plan, your service plan is often driven through the implementation of projects as well. So the three of them link together and talk together to solve that ecosystem in terms of delivering the kind of the strategic objectives of the organization. And then the kind of latest one that we've started talking to some of our existing customers about is iCoHelp. That's our Copilot agent, which kind of sticks along all that and glues it all together, and is the next big thing from Microsoft is Copilot, as we know, and the industry, and that's our interpretation of how we can use what we call iCoHelp to plug into those 3 applications, or even one of them if you need to use natural language to query that. And there's a couple of bits of content on our website and on YouTube of iCoHelp if you're interested at the right time, of course. We're really, really proud to be working with these organizations and many more, some of which are on the call today as well. And we're incredibly proud to be helping and supporting these organizations in any way we can in their quest to digitally transform. So really proud of some of the strong relationships we've got in Wales and West, in DEFRA, in DESNES as well. And some of the stuff that's closer to home in Wales as well, in Torfaen, Blaen y Gwent, Transport for Wales, etc. I did ask for a free bus pass or train pass when we worked with Transport for Wales, but they said no. Damn it. But yeah, really, really proud of those organisations that we're helping here across the UK. So one of the things that I've noticed in, I guess, our journey at iCoTech Services is Project Online, the definition of Project Online, what it is and what it means, because I think there's some misconception in the industry of what Project Online is. And so I thought I would just show you kind of what this is in a nutshell. But to do that, I thought I'd just articulate the kind of options from Microsoft in terms of the project options. It bugs me beyond belief that this thing here doesn't fit in the box. I tried for ages last night to get this to fit in the box, but I couldn't find a picture that sits in there. So ignore that little kind of shaping there. But yeah, on the left hand side we've got Planner, and Planner is effectively that kind of the replacement for To Do, and it enables us then to do kind of project plans for individuals. So if you're an individual person, a small team, you want to organize yourself better, then you might have used To Do in the past. Now you can use Planner in Teams, and you can do some good practical kind of smaller project activities in there. One step further on the right is Planner Premium, and that used to be called Project for the Web, but that is better, more functionality available in the project plans. So you've got dependencies, milestones, some level of assignment planning as well. And I'd say you could use that for more detailed project management, project planning. All right. The next one is the oldest kid on the block. It's Project Desktop. That is the solution that is locally installed on your machines, and it allows you to build very, very comprehensive project plans, thousands of line schedules. I think that ever since I was a support officer in Welsh Water in 2018, at 18 years old, Microsoft Project was a thing, and it's been here forevermore, and it will be here for a long time going forward as well. Then you kind of ramp up into Project Server. Now, Project Server is that enterprise project portfolio management solution that allows you to do enterprise governance, cross-enterprise resource management, program planning, program tracking, and it starts to enable you to do things like timesheeting and those type of things as well. So that's Project Server. And then on the right-hand side, you've got 2 other options finally, which is Azure DevOps, which is very good for technical agile implementations. And I mean that in the truest software development. So you can do product-based work, you could do kind of automated pipelines with deployments and stuff, and you can link all that into a bit of a Kanban board or however you want to manage your activities in any of the agile disciplines. So that's another solution there available to you. The last one on the right-hand side is something called Project Operations. Now, Project Operations is a Dynamics 365 component that allows you to do kind of billing, timesheets. It allows you to do opportunities to delivery, contract management, skills matrix, profit margins, all those type of things. So normally in the public sector, in the organizations we're working with at the moment, you're not needing that level of capability, but it is a great bit of a kit, and it does solve lots of complex problems, but predominantly for people that are generating revenue from projects, right? You'll note that Project Online isn't in that list because Project Online is effectively the online version of Project Server. So Project Online is the project server hosted in the cloud, and it has all the same capability of Project Server. It's just a cloud version of it. All right, so that's why. So that's Project Online. Just to go into another level of detail, just to show some examples, just to be 100% sure that we're talking about the same thing. Project Online is this system here, and it hasn't changed. I copied and pasted a picture off online and realised it's in Arabic, the language, and Sam pointed out to me late last night, and my change hasn't saved. So that's the PWA app, and here's Project Center. This is the list of projects in your Project Online environment that you can see the kind of bar charts, the RAG statuses, etc. And then if you were to go into a project, you could then start to select the project, and it would show you some further project detail pages, etc. All right. You can actually, in Project Online, in the scheduling app, you can click the edit button and you can click open in Microsoft Project, and it will literally take this project plan and it will open it in Microsoft Project Desktop for you, and that will enable you to build your detailed schedules and then publish them back in to Project Online ecosystem. All right. So hopefully by now you're either sitting there thinking, yeah, Joel, that looks familiar, that's what I'm using, or you're sitting there going, I'm using something different to that. Phew, I'm not using that system. Therefore, the Project Online end of life doesn't impact you if that's the case. Obviously, if you're using this platform and this user interface looks familiar to you and your team, you're using Project Online. All right, but you do need to get clarification that you're not using Project Server because, you know, as I said earlier, Project Server is not the problem area here. What I would say is this is a diagram that we put together years ago, just to show the high-level architecture and just a different way of explaining what I've just tried to explain there. You've got Project Desktop here connected to Project Online, and Project Online has got SharePoint capability within it. Obviously, you can still use Project Desktop to drive standalone plans as well, as many of you might do. But the brilliant thing about Project Online was that we could connect Power BI to that Project Online data set, and we could produce some brilliant reporting, etc. And it was in an ecosystem with Project Home from Microsoft. So you'll see then that Planner and Project for the Web and something called Roadmaps was all in the same ecosystem and all in the same family. So they were connected together, and we could do things with them with extensibility in the Power Platform. Added to that then, the Dataverse environment with Power Platform, we could extend Roadmaps, Project for the Web, even Project Online with Power Apps, and that's kind of really where we started to envisage iCoPlan back in the day, and went off in our direction to focus on the Power Platform. So hopefully today you're looking at that going, I'm definitely using Project Online. Or maybe I'm not, and therefore, just to really be clear, we're talking today about the end of life for Project Online. So Project Desktop will still be a thing, cracking on. Project for the Web, Planner will still be a thing, cracking on, no change at all. Power Apps, Power BI, all those things will still work. It's in particular and specifically the Project Online instance that is going end of life in September of this year. Right. And that is the instance, that is the tool that I used 10 years ago to run my portfolio and to build out the PPM solution that we're using back then. So going forward, when you go forward, I always like to look back and just reflect on where we've been and how we got here and what it looks like. And I won't give you every bit. I've tried to condense as much as possible, but I always like looking backwards and seeing where things came from. But actually, as I said earlier, Project Server was built in the early 2000s. It was released as an on-premise application, and it was seen as an add-on to Microsoft Project Desktop. But it was built on projects on SQL databases and SharePoint. And Project Server, I remember using it years ago in Babcock. It did require a lot of maintenance. It was an infrastructure project on a physical server, and it needed patching, upgrades, and some significant IT support to roll out and to use Project Server. And then in 2013, Microsoft did a fantastic thing for us, and they took it online, and hence how now it's called Project Online. And it was kind of part of the Microsoft 365, or it was called Office 365 back then. ecosystem. It was essentially, as I said, Project Server just hosted on a Microsoft managed server. But it was not a rewrite, which is the key point, and it was still based on that SharePoint-based Project Server architecture, which was I guess the seed setting for the future limitations and the seed setting for why we are here now, where Project Online is being retired because of some of those architectural limitations. 2013, 2018, it really was the platform of choice for project portfolio management from Microsoft was Project Online. It was the go-to. Many customers, many organizations that I was aware of in that period, just Project Online was a thing. And for over a decade, these critical these PPM solutions have been used to manage some of our most critical infrastructure projects across the UK. So Babcock, BAE, MOD all use Project Online and the project servers, and actually funny little known fact, but many, if not all, of the F1 teams based in the UK use Project Online for timesheeting and billing for the cost cap rules, etc. Right, so it's a significant platform and product that is in the industry, and many project practitioners would have come across that platform over time. But in 2019, those architectural limitations came to bear, really, with some of the components of Project Online using SharePoint backend and some of the SQL kind of databases in the background meant that we couldn't really modernize Project Online to meet the needs of the customers. And iCoTech really felt that. When we're deploying solutions to some of our customers, we couldn't really extend it into meet the requirements of the modern project practitioners. And that's where really Power Platform started to come about. And in 2019, just as iCoTech was forming as a business, Power Platform was seen as the new route to go, and that's why for the last 5 years now we've been delivering Power Platform solutions. So really, since 2019, there's been no major kind of enhancements or architectural improvements to the Microsoft Project Online. And then in early 2025, Microsoft announced that it would retire at the end of September 2026. So that's how we got here today. And yeah, as I said earlier, it's a bit emotional talking about Project Online not being here anymore, because it was a big part of my career and very fond of the product. All right. There's a question there, David. Was Project Online end of life? Will project pages content saved within those pages live? No. So no. So David, to answer your question, that is the point. Unfortunately, from the 30th of September, technically, the instances of Microsoft Project Online will be inaccessible to everybody and anybody, and that's kind of why we're here today. All right. So what's next? Longer term. The roadmap, strategic direction is project management will be an evolving area for Microsoft. They've got lots of plans in the future, lots of which I can't tell you about. but being a Microsoft partner, we're part of that roadmap session, and we're really impressed and really excited about the future of project management and the ecosystem that Microsoft have envisaged, and the partner community is supporting the rollout of. Obviously, we're shifting to cloud. I would say 90% of our customers are already using the cloud for project portfolio management, and Power Platform is really the bedrock of that. And the exciting part then is just that the benefit of that new platform is we can start to use things like Copilot, we can start to use things like AI, obviously, do some more analytics and have better interoperability between Microsoft 365 as well. So we could connect Teams to Planner, we could connect Power Platform to Copilot, and it's all in the same ecosystem, whereas the limitations of Project Online is that it's a separate container, it's a separate solution, and we have to build kind of APIs and stuff to integrate, which was a nightmare. So definitely the future is bright. Maybe not orange, but it's definitely bright, and it's definitely got some great kind of opportunities in the future to leverage the technology. But that's really kind of how iCoPlan and the Power Platform comes into play, and the extensibility of the Power Platform can help take you onwards and upwards, I think, if you are using Project Online at the moment. In terms of some of the migration options, so I've put, it is complicated to kind of put all this onto a set of slides to articulate to a wider audience. So I've tried to really condense it down into kind of the triggers that make us decide whether this is actually a low complexity activity or a medium complexity or a high activity high complexity activity. So I think if you're there now and you're using Microsoft Project Online and you're reading some of these points effectively, and you could map those in your head to go, okay, well, I'm actually using, say for example, the resource center and resource plans and baselines and financial roll-ups and custom workflows with gates, then I actually sit in this medium complexity bucket, right? If you're sitting there and using Project Online and all you're using is the PDP pages, you're kind of doing standard project plans in Microsoft Project, a couple of custom lists for risks, actions, issues, decisions, those kind of things. Maybe there's kind of standard status supports that are in there as well. You've got documents in there, and you're doing a bit of dashboarding Power BI. I would suggest that feels like you're in that low complexity bucket, and thus the migration should be a little bit easier. But if you're on the flip side and you're in a position where you're using timesheeting, you're doing actual tracking, critical path analysis, you're doing capacity models in Project Online, any of the portfolio management analysis functionality where you can put your portfolio objectives and you can analyze and point those projects against that portfolio kind of model, then you're definitely in the high complexity camp. Migrating timesheet data, actual data, billing data, the difference between forecast and actual, all that kind of stuff is complex and is a bigger challenge to unpick. So I did kind of nearly went down the garden path of giving you the detail behind this, but we would have been here for 4 hours and you would have been bored to death of me giving the detail on here. But I hope that that's giving you something to go kind of put yourself into one of those categories in your organizations and go, okay, I'm in a low category, or actually I need to consider this, because it's a more higher complex initiative. The other thing to point out is the bottom boxes is basically me saying if you're doing a manual upload of data, so you might have 50 projects and you're happy to do things manually as an Excel export and manually import them into the target solution, then again that's low. If you've got 1,000 projects and you've got lots of entities that sit behind it and some level of resourcing and gate approvals, then an automatic upload would be preference. And medium complexity, and then very high complexities. If somebody said to us, and some people have, for audit purposes, I need to keep the historical data. I need to know what the status of that project was 3 years ago, and I need to keep that in a stored for regulatory purposes, etc. You automatically put yourself in the high complexity. So even if you're in the low up here, for this is your functional kind of area, but if you want to keep everything historic for the last 5 years, you automatically promote yourself to a high complexity, because that the level of data, the snapshot coming out of it is just tenfold then at that point. All right. Every organization is different. The discovery workshops we go through with our customers will just enable us to attempt to check that and give you a view, a guidance. Data migration is difficult. It is probably the kind of most challenging thing to tackle in these migration projects. But because the functionality is there, whether we build something specific or we take one of the accelerator components, whatever it might be, there's nothing in Project Online you can't do in the Power Platform. But it's more around what bits do you actually need, what bits do you actually use, and how do we migrate the data across. If we were to do historical data tracking, then we would probably recommend using an SQL database just to keep that data stored somewhere. It's kind of counterintuitive to start putting records in the Power Platform that are 3, 4, 5 years old, unless there's a real business need to do that. But yeah, there's lots of options and kind of variances in between all these scales. And it goes without saying, I don't want to kind of teach you how to suck eggs, as they say, but the higher complex kind of model that you sit into, the higher the cost, it's the bigger effort, the bigger rigor we have to put around these things to support the migrations. All right. And that's kind of, hopefully that's given you a good insight into kind of the options there, really. In terms of timescales, just it takes time to go through these things. So if you are using Project Online, you are moving through this, our typical kind of implementation is normally about 12 weeks from analysis through to kind of closure. But this is an indicative timescale I put together earlier this week. If you are in the kind of planning stages in January, you've probably got 2 months really before you can start kicking something off at the start of April to really start working with the migration. And you really want to be off Project Online well before the end of June, really. And we all know that we like a summer break, right? So we want to go on holidays in the summer. We definitely don't want to be doing data migrations and application testing in the height of summer through kind of August and July. Doing a smaller back end, kind of decommissioning activity is over the summer is probably a bit easier. Right? I'm just going to come to some of the questions. So Emma, thanks for your question. So I hope I've answered that question in this slide, Emma. Yeah, it takes time. I definitely wouldn't be rushing this. It is going to be organizational change. 200 live projects as an example is a medium amount of projects, I would say. Obviously, the complexity underneath it needs to be ascertained. But yeah, you're changing the way that project managers deliver change, right? So, and the PMO work and the processes behind it, the reporting structures, it's fundamental change. Whilst the functionality is, I would say, better in Power Apps, it's a different way of doing the same thing. So that needs to be trained, rolled out, and depending on how many people, the project managers you've got running that portfolio of 200 projects, I can imagine it's quite a lot of them, 20, 30, 40 project practitioners in that ecosystem that all need to be trained and onboarded appropriately to the new platform. How would you know, Andrew? Great question. And Drew's put a little response in there as well. You can use the reports for project activity and the plan licenses. And I guess the only other way is to do a system check. So you could go into, as an admin center, you can go into the SharePoint admin center, and you can, I think this is called site collections. And there's a little, in the admin center 365, you can go into SharePoint and see, have you got any kind of site collections, and one might be called Project Web App. More than happy to jump on a call with you, Andrew, for half an hour, and just if you've got a Microsoft 365 admin, we could just do that with you, just to triple check if you're not sure. All right. And yes, of course, our lovely friends procurement, we have to go through those processes and quoting and budgeting, etc. So yeah, the challenge is there, Emma, of course. The marketing team did a great job of this next slide, and then yesterday I kind of butchered it because the next slide is what's the risk and challenges of inaction. And there was a lot of work in here that Sarah and Joe did, bless them, and I just thought, the risk is you're just going to lose your data. So the consequence of that, of course, is tenfold. But if we don't do anything and you're managing your projects in Project Online, it's just going to stop working. Technically, the date is the 30th of September, and the message and the standard from Microsoft at the moment is that everything will cease to exist. So all that data will be inaccessible. Regardless of backups, licenses, etc., it will just not exist, and so therefore we need to take proactive action to get there. All right. Sorry, marketing, because our team, that's like looked good yesterday. So do planner including including the link that has already been spun up in the planner by MS for each instance and leads to SharePoint page. Seems odd. Yeah, I need to digest that one a bit later. Maybe we'll put that into the car park, David, and we could discuss that later on, just so I can understand your question and advise as best as I can. The future of PPM and Microsoft, from our perspective, you've got a comprehensive PPM platform in iCoPlan, which we can extend to do really whatever you wanted to do. I've talked about Copilot with iCoHelp being on the Power Platform. Copilot Studios are an integral part of Power Platform, so that we can build agents with that, such as iCoHelp. And then obviously from our perspective, we see that you can extend the Power Platform to more than just project management with iCo Risk and iCo View. All right. So, I definitely think this technology platform is the right platform to move to. And as we segue in, I can show you iCoPlan in more detail. All right. So please do put some questions in the chat if you've got any further questions around the kind of technical approach, anything you want me to answer in terms of Project Online, end of life. I was debating in my planning for this webinar of how detailed to go in the technical kind of questioning and solutioning, but we've got a process to go through. So if you want some more information, then feel free to reach out to us, and we can take you through a more detailed process and analyze exactly where you are and what the best route forward for you is. But iCoPlan is front and center to that, really. So iCoPlan is our project portfolio management solution. We built this many years ago, actually, but it was always that solution that people could come to if Project Online was not the right fit for them. And Project iCoPlan has then developed over the years to be what it is today. And as I say, there's nothing you can't do in iCoPlan plus with some configuration that Project Online does. But there's probably better ways of doing those things now, such as portfolio analysis. There's other solutions, integrations and etc. So what iCoPlan is, it is an accelerator, and I really want to stress that point. It's something there's a quick start of a 10, low cost, get it in quickly and start digitizing the way that you're running projects, or move those projects from Project Online into this ecosystem. And then we go onwards and upwards through our optimization processes then to configure this to meet the needs of your business and to get you guys adopting this platform, for the next few years. All right. So in some of our activities of discovery, we really analyze, okay, you're using Project Online now, great, but are you really using the portfolio analysis solution? Are you really using detailed planning and detailed scheduling activities in here, or are you just kind of high level planning? So it's really that softer side of the discovery to make sure that, just because you've got Project Online doesn't mean you need the all singing, all dancing Power Platform PPM solution to account for that. All right. So I'm just going to move across to my screen. Feel free, as I say, to put any questions you've got in here. And apologies for those guys that are on the call. I know some of you have joined that are already using iCoPlan, but it might be useful for you to see it anyway, just to remind how it works and the processes behind it. So here I'm in a demo environment of iCoPlan, and this is actually a model-driven app as its core. And just to show the kind of configuration options you've got in here, this is actually a Canvas app embedded within a model-driven app. So yeah, gets us confused a little bit. But you can see here that everything on this page could be customized. So for those people who know South Wales, you can see that's Cardiff Bay behind it. Every one of our customers that has this solution implemented they're configured to the branding, the kind of look and feel, to their organization. So this is basically a project request process, and it's that idea of bringing in new requests from the business. And this is a Canvas app where anybody in the business could fill out this form for the new desk booking app. I'm not going to fill this in word for word because it'll be here till next week, and you'll see how bad my spelling is. But yeah, that's a new desk booking app. You can say who's it requested by, who's the executive sponsor, maybe what's the priority of this thing, and the description, the business case, the technical solution, and whatever it might be. All right, and then you can answer some questions like, does it align to strategy? Does it, lower cost? Does it improve employee retention? And does it have any risk, etc., to the portfolio for whatever reason? All right. Once you have implement or filled out all these forms or fields, you can then press submit, and then that project request will go into the PMO to be received. As I say, some customers put it on SharePoint. Some customers keep it within the app. Some customers don't have it. It's okay. You've got options in that space. All right. Oh, okay, cool. Hopefully it's better. Fingers crossed you can hear me okay. So now we're in the model-driven Power App side. So this is the active project requests that have come in by the team, and you're able then to filter these requests by state, or order them, by requested by. And every single kind of view you see here is configurable, so you can add the columns, add the fields in from every single kind of entity within the system as well. So what date it was submitted or when it was created on, for example, you could bring that in here and you can reorder that, just like a SharePoint list, but on steroids, I call it. Jane, you've got a question. Is it customizable by the organization? Do you need... Okay, cool. You need iCoTech for everything. I'm joking, you don't. Yeah, of course, it's customizable by the organization. It's not end user customizable. There's a process to go through, but it is all low code, no code technology, Jane. So yeah, there's options in that space. It's all kind of simple in the background to add new fields, add new forms, and depends on how we design it as well for if you want option sets changing quite frequently, etc. All right. So if I go to the new desk booking app, you can go into this request now and you can see that information that was submitted by the request form, I can now view as a PMO manager or as a head of projects or whatever that might be. And I can actually look at this profiling here for prioritization. I could say, actually, I don't think it does align to strategy. I don't think it's going to lower cost because I think the actual solution is quite expensive. And you're right, it does have extreme risk. So I can effectively prioritize and rescore this. It's a very simple model for now, but you can configure that through the onboarding wave with us. Linking it to iCoView and strategic themes, etc., or even just making it even more simple, like high, medium, low, for example. But once that project has been requested, then you can approve that project, you can create the project, and you can move it down into the project portfolio. All right. A few questions. Does it require project? So no. So it doesn't integrate with Project Desktop. It can do, but out of the box it doesn't. We haven't really had a customer that wants to invest in that capability yet. If you are using 1,000-line schedules, we would tend to keep them standalone, and obviously use the other options like project operations and the other services we talked about earlier on. So here we've got the portfolios, programs, and projects. It's that kind of PPM structure that we've built into the platform. So if I just go into a portfolio here, we've got the healthcare optimization portfolio. Again, you can change these. You can call them themes or departments or directorates, whatever that might be. But effectively, you'll be able to manage as a portfolio manager. Being able to manage the healthcare optimization portfolio at this level, and you can see here the risks that have been tracked at the portfolio level, but also being escalated for my input and my approval as well. All right, so you can manage those risks at this portfolio level. If I drop down to level 2, I call it. So this is the programs, and therefore we're able to manage a program with the projects in it. And if you're used to using Project Online, you'll be familiar with that kind of setup. So you have projects and sub-projects in Project Online, it's a similar thing. And then when we go into the program itself, we're able then to manage other attributes of that program, such as the status reports, the finances, and other things as well. All right. I am going really quickly because I'm conscious of time. I want to leave enough time at the end for questions. But I just wanted to show you kind of what the kind of the platform looks like in a whistle-stop tour. So if we go down to level 3, then we've got the project portfolio, and effectively this is where I live every day in our internal iCo plan. All of our projects, all of our engagements, all of our activities. Again, creating custom views, so I can see the projects by RAG. I can see the projects by percentage complete, whatever filters I've applied to it earlier on, my portfolio projects. You can cut and slice it as you want. All right. I'm going to go back to my default view. And again, as I showed you earlier, you can add all the fields, add all the columns, create your own custom views in the PMO, and then share those out to users as well. I'm going to go into this project, and here you've got more attributes that are available to you now. So you've got the lifecycle along the top. So these are the kind of governance stages and the checklist items that you might have. I remember I always kind of tell people the story. I'll reference this as I used to do this in Excel. So in Project Support Officer in Welsh Water, I used to put the Excel items against the stages and kind of govern what projects would go through what stage. And here we're doing that in a digital way. So you can do it quite simply with these yes, nos. And you could go on to do lots of other automations and governance approvals that you might be doing in Project Online at the moment. Also, you can do multiple different types of stages or stage checklists or life cycles, however you want to call them. So that was a agile one previously. This is now a waterfall one, and you can configure these to your heart's content. All right. Here then we've got the tasks. So this is Planner. So Planner Premium being embedded into the board. So here you're creating your project plan, your schedule. So you wouldn't be using Microsoft Project Desktop as standard. You can use Planner. but we can integrate or embed Jira, Azure DevOps. You can put Microsoft Project Desktop in here if you really want to. But this is really quite suitable and sufficient for most of our customers at the moment. You could do all the things at Kanban boards, manage sprints, timelines, charts. You can do assignment level resourcing as well. So you could go back to your grid view and you can see all the assignments by resource hours per day. So you can get really quite detailed with this stuff if you're in that space of planning. All right. Then you've got all the other attributes, so milestones, work packages, finance detail. How you could capture different types of budgets that may be given to the project, external funding, grant funding, investment funding, and then status reports as well. So digitizing the status reports. So way back when I was a project support officer in Welsh Water, status reports were in Word, and then they moved to PowerPoint. And by the time we wrote status report, PDF'd it and sent it to the portfolio board, it would be out of date. So now we're no longer doing that. We're creating a digital record for our status report, and then we're kind of reporting that in Power BI, which I'll show you later on in a second. A few questions coming through. Thanks, Andrew. Doll question: what is the natural fit? What is the natural fit for those using Project Online for the remaining Microsoft project? Oh, Jesus, I don't think there is a natural fit, Andrew. I would say most of our customers are happy through the discovery process to go to iCoPlan plus some configuration in the Power Platform. That's the most logical approach. There are some unique points and unique specifics that mean you go back to Project Server, but it just goes against every grain in our bodies as technologists to say to a customer, you go back to Prem. So I think there's one case I know of the kind of considering going back to Prem, but that is for one idiosyncrasy reason. So the natural, most common migration and platform, is to go and use a Power Platform solution, and that will be the best thing for you in terms of longevity as well. Emma said we have external consultants currently accessing our MSPO space. How would they access this? What would the requirement be? Emma, thank you for the question. So there's options. You can use federated access, guest access. It does require on your Microsoft 365 team approving the process. So we have a couple of different customers using those type of accesses into external consultants, so they can use their own kind of domain email address, company email address, and they go through an onboarding process through your 365 team, and then they get added to a specific user group within Power Platform, so they can only access the projects that they are supposed to be accessing. And that's kind of an option. There's also something called portals, which is like a website Power Pages kind of technology, where if you were just showing invoices or kind of work packages or something specific, it would be a bit easier to set up a portal where they could log in using their own credentials and have access and communicate with iCoPlan through that process. So there's a few options, and there's a few other options in between that as well, Emma. But yeah, definitely got a few customers doing that external access piece. Emma Allen, does it have audit capability to track what's changed and when? Yes, it does. So it's actually based on Dynamics ERP system. So you can imagine the types of capability this platform has got within it. So yeah, every change, the field value before and after the change, who changed it, and the date and time they changed it is all audited in the background of the system. We have to do some setup work to make that happen, and we have to make sure that your Microsoft 365 team are on board with that. But yes, that's absolutely possible. No problem at all. Right. And then you've got the kind of RAID items, so all the risks, the issues, the actions, decisions, changes, benefits, lessons, everything is in one place. And I think it's from a Project Online perspective, having used Project Online, you've got a few different levels to go through. So you go into a project PDP page, and then you go down into the site. It's just 10 times better because you're not having to go through those stages and load those different systems. And architecture is a lot better as well because if we want to go and update the field or add a new field to the risk form, it's a simple, quick fix. It just rolls out automatically. We're not having to push it out through complex processes as we would do in SharePoint lists that sit underneath Project Online. So the kind of build, the usability, the maintenance, everything in the Power Platform is just 10 times better. All right. And one of the biggest factors for me is that even without, Power BI reporting, you can see every single risk in the portfolio. You can see every single task from every single plan at the touch of a button. I don't need Power BI to generate these reports and wait a couple of minutes for it to refresh. I don't have to have a third-party reporting solution. It's just there. If you want to see all the status reports, they're just available on the sitemap. You're not having to move in and out of the system or go to different places. All right, and you can kind of flex that and build those reports yourself. So if you want to see all the risks that are owned by Toby because Toby's on annual leave or whatever it might be, you can just come in here and just say, okay, I'm going to show you all the risks that are owned by me. You're not having to kind of build complex Power BI dashboard or reporting activities. And this is aggregated across the whole PPM ecosystem as well. But then if you did want to use Power BI, which if all of our customers do, because of course, it's good to get the data out. This is some examples of what you could do for reporting purposes. So the content pack you get with iCoPlan is here. This is the portfolios. These are all the project requests we talked about earlier on by high priority that I might want to look at. These are the projects in the portfolio by the RAG, so I can filter by the amber RAG projects in the portfolio. And these are all the risks across the portfolio as well with all my filters. So if you're using Project Online, I presume you're probably using Power BI for visualization reporting, so you probably will be familiar with that. But the interoperability between the two is just a lot easier. There's a lot more options we can do, a lot more dynamic reporting we could do out of it as well. All right, loads of other stuff there, but I think I'll leave it there for now, unless anybody's got any other questions. So when we are heavy project schedule users, can I see what the iCoPlan solution is for that? So it does depend what you mean by project schedule there. If you're using Microsoft Project Desktop and you're doing kind of detailed level planning, then Project for the Web or Planner Premium, sorry, I should call it that now, will not be sufficient for that. If you're doing, EVM, if you're doing critical path analysis, 5,000 lines of tasks, you definitely don't want to be using Planner. So you need to consider then going back into keeping them in Project Desktop. If you are doing revenue recognition projects and timesheeting and billing, then you would go over to Project Operations, and that's another solution we can show you individually as a separate call. But yeah, 5,000 lines of tasks in Project Desktop, that's heavy usage. And then the other option is you go back to Project Server Subscription, which is a service that's available to you. Some customers have approached us with maybe more like 1,000 lines of tasks. We've moved them across to kind of Planner and iCoPlan, but we've split out the tasks because we often find that they're the kind of programs as opposed to specific projects. So we've done that hierarchy split to make a 5,000 line schedule 10 500 line schedules, and that's a bit easier. Project Operations is really cool. Looks and feels like this, but it's a lot more about timesheeting, billing, forecasting, cost management, P&L management, all that kind of stuff as well. All right. So that's it from me. Is there any other questions across the audience today about iCoPlan, or any other questions about the kind of options in terms of Project Online decommissioning? There's a couple of coming through. Oh, costs. We could discuss costs at a later date. We don't tend to really go into it at this much detail because it varies depending on the requirements. If I'm honest, it's not really that expensive, and we've got some customers in local authorities that we're kind of confident we're reasonably priced. But it needs to go through a process to really get you a definitive cost, Salma. So, the Q&A, so does it look at resource view? Can you show a view on resource requirements? Yes. So we have a customer IPO that does quite a basic but a good and pragmatic resource model. It does depend on your requirement, of course. If you're looking to assign hour by hour, minute by minute resourcing, it'll struggle with that. But if you're looking to assign a specific set of hours per month or per week to a resource pool or a person, you can definitely build that resource breakdown structure. And I do believe Transport for Wales have just gone live with their solution that looks into that as well. So lots of options in that space for resource management, depending on the level of kind of complexity you want to do with that. Again, you can put resources into Planner and start scheduling resources in Planner within iCoPlan, and we're building a resource center for SRS at the moment, so doing it in that way for them. The benefit of the Power Platform is that there's kind of 5 ways to do one thing, and they scale and they range. So depending on your requirement, your complexity, you could do something really basic, really simple. You could do something really, really clever, really, really comprehensive, and it gives us the ability to really understand what the problem is, what you're trying to do, and then we can suggest the right solution from our portfolio of kind of little features and functions that we can stitch together for you. Costs, Emma, another question: can you view and manage individual resources, e.g. can I see all the time people are working on projects to make? Yes, definitely. Yeah. So if you do the timesheet module and you start doing timesheets in the system, then you can definitely see kind of from a historic basis what people are spending their time on. But even if you don't do that, you just want to do it kind of forecast view, then that's exactly what IPO are doing at the moment. So they've got a blended, a high level resource view of the projects in the portfolio versus the project requests, and then they're overlaying those demands by generic user, named user, so they can see next year they need 5 more BAs in that quarter because of the demand coming through, and so you can do that kind of resource profiling and leveling at that point as well. Yes, the recording will be shared, as Sam said. Okay, cool.
There was a question a little bit earlier, Joel, that we missed from Chris Etchingham.
Okay.
Is it a one-off purchase of the product, or are there add-ons they need to purchase to get to other features? I don't know if you want to talk about the process around that.
Yeah, so the process is really, thanks, Sam, it's really going through that discovery, really understanding what you're trying to achieve. Obviously, if you want some more details on pricing and options, then please do reach out to Sam and we'll book a call and go through it again in more detail, because I appreciate I've kind of gone through that quite quickly. There's no kind of license fee per user for iCoPlan. It is a one-off fee, it's a small fee, as an accelerator fee. And then as a consultancy team, we're a set of consultants that will work with you over the next few years to build out this platform. Obviously, that varies depending on everybody's objectives and their capability internally as well. So, just needs a conversation, and then we can really portray the cost then. But we're really clear in that initial kind of discovery and intro call. We're really open and honest with the costs, and there's no surprises. We keep everything above board and open. All right. Cool. Kelly, thanks for your questions. Sam's the man. So Sam's email, Sam will reach out to you, Kelly, and start a conversation. There's a process we'll go through. Sam will collect some information, some high-level information on who you are, what you're doing, and what kind of background. We'll do a little appointment then. We'll do an hour-long session where I'll just go back through iCoPlan to make sure you are you're happy with iCoPlan, and we'll take you through our processes and the costing model at that point as well. So we're really clear and open with the costs. I hate giving numbers on calls and then the expectations are wrong and it just gets confusing. So we don't shy away from the investment that's needed, and there's no hidden costs, etc. And we stay true to that, but it's just about going through that appointment call, and then we can explain the costing model and how it works for you at that point in time. All right. Any other questions? No? Cool. Well, I hope it was useful. I hope the kind of level of the detail was right. No worries, Kelly. I'm sure Sam will reach out to you. But lots of other substance, lots of other options and details. If you're in that situation where you need to come off Project Online, rest assured we can help you move you across. It's just about reaching out to us and having a conversation. We can go from there. Cool.
Yeah, thanks, Joel. And thank you to Drew as well for joining us today, and to Sarah and Joe, who haven't been on the call, but they're in the call in the background, but have helped to put all this together today. We wouldn't have been able to put this on without their support. And thank you everyone for joining. The QR code is there if you want to book in some time for another conversation. But we'll also reach out to you, so feel free to come back to any emails. It'd also be great if you could follow us on LinkedIn. We're also on YouTube. There's lots more of our content there as well, so feel free to have a look at those as well. There's lots more information that sort of comes through those things as well. And our next webinar is at the end of February. I haven't got the date on the top of my head, but it's looking in particularly around local government reorganisation and how some of the solutions, so how there are some tech solutions to some of the problems and the complexities that's going to throw up as well. So if you're interested in joining that, keep an eye out on LinkedIn and to our newsletter for some more information about that as well. But I think that is us for today, and we're finishing pretty much bang on time, which is brilliant. But yeah, thank you again to Joel, to Drew, to everyone for joining us, and to Joe and Sarah for helping put this on today. And we will see you again in a few weeks' time.